Hey guys, we're here with Jim Vaughan of Ridgeline Realty. And Jim, you're a realtor. How long have you been a realtor?
Realtor for 7 years.
Wow.
Did part-time for a little bit and got into it full-time.
Wow.
I enjoy it.
Yeah. What's your favorite part of your job? What do you like to do the most?
I think mainly just helping people get into a place. It's so dynamic sometimes that by the time they get done, people are just completely emotionally, physically exhausted.
Yeah.
And just to be there with them and help comfort that part of it, you end up becoming pretty good friends with most of them.
Yeah.
Most people.
It helps to have a guide throughout the home buying or home selling process because that's not something that most people do every day. And when you're experienced with it, you know what to expect and how to help them through that.
Yeah, this isn't like going to the grocery store. There's a lot of emotion that's wrapped up around this. And a lot of times you have to help them with that, that part of it. It's not just the paperwork. It's not just the opening the doors and doing all the stuff that nobody wants to mess with. But you actually have to consult with them and help them through a lot of this stuff. And sometimes that's very satisfying for me.
Yeah.
Very gratifying.
Yes, I agree with you. It feels so good to help somebody get into a home or, to accomplish selling a home and meeting some of their financial goals, whatever.
It is because, this is the biggest purchase that most people are going to make in their lifetime.
Yes.
And it's really important to them, and you want to make sure that it stays really important through the whole process.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to ask real quick, how is the market going?
In some aspects, it's doing pretty well. And then there's other aspects that it's not doing too well. We're seeing houses on the market between 45 and 55 days, depending on where the house is at, where it's located, the price range, everything from the 300s up to about the 500s seem to be moving a little bit faster. Anything over 500 tends to stay on the market a little bit longer. But the market's still holding fair. It's not a buyer's market, and it's really not a seller's market. That's what we're moving into.
Okay, so it's pretty balanced. What is the typical time that a home would sit on the market, like in a normal market?
Normal market, that's kind of hard to explain right now because everything's been so crazy for the last 10 years.
Oh.
But a normal market, you're probably 30 to 45 days in this market right now. Sometimes it goes a little quicker with it, depending on qualifications. It only takes one buyer to get it gone, or to buy one. And so the qualification process takes a few days. And then, of course, you need to get out and look, and everybody wants that perfect house. And so it takes a little bit of time for.
Yeah. So you said homes that are priced between like $300,000 and $500,000, those move a little faster. But if you're above $500,000, it takes longer typically for those to sell. Or
that's what we're kind of seeing. That's the trend because of the interest rates and that we're seeing right at the minute. They are sloping down. There is a downward trend. It's not as fast as some people want, but the problem with that is we get into a landslide where it drops too fast, and we're going to be right back into one crazy market. We really don't want to see that, but it would be nice if we could get it to start going a little bit better. But right in the market right now, yeah, it's kind of holding on. You get over that 500, that's a pretty good payment.
Yeah. So you mentioned, like, in talking about homes and talking about price points, it makes me think about different demographics who purchase homes. So let's start with like the baby boomer demographic or the generation. What are they doing?
Well, that's huge right now too, because there are so many baby boomers out there. I happen to be one of them, but a lot of them, they're empty nesters now. Their kids are grown. They're moved out on their own. They're stuck with a bigger house. They want to downsize. They want to simplify. They want to get closer to friends and maybe family. And so we're seeing a lot of baby boomers right now that they're getting rid of the houses they've got or they've had for 20 plus years. And they've got a ton of equity in it. So they're able to do some creative stuff to get into another house for either less money or a reverse mortgage or, there's so many options out there for them right now. We're starting to see that pick up quite a bit.
Yeah. That's a really good thing that you brought up, the reverse mortgage. That has a negative connotation to it.
It does.
By a lot of people just because of what happened in the past with reverse mortgages. However, since especially 2013, there have been a lot of changes made in regulation to protect the consumer. So I think a lot of baby boomers are probably not aware that they can take that equity of their home and do a reverse purchase with it, so that they don't actually have a mortgage payment that they're making out of pocket. And that could help them if they're on a fixed income or if they want to use that money to invest in something else or whatever. But a reverse mortgage these days is a much better vehicle than it was even like 15, 20 years ago.
Well, a lot of them don't understand, and I'm not financial wizard or anything, but a lot of them can take that equity and actually purchase another home in a reverse mortgage.
Yeah.
So now they may not have that big house payment that they've had, or they may want to, like you said, they may want to free up some of their equity to help their living expenses, or maybe they want to take a big trip with the family. There's just so many things that can happen. Reverse mortgages have actually, they've been regulated to where they're actually pretty good.
Yeah, they really are.
They can be. Right for everyone, but it can be.
Exactly. Yeah. You need to look at the situation and the scenario and see if it's right for you. But it's an option that's available to people that a lot of people are not aware of. I didn't know about them until I got into the mortgage industry.
Yeah.
So what are you seeing as far as, I think the majority of buyers would you say are the millennial generation, or what generation would you say are the majority of buyers?
Probably the millennial generation, the 30 to 50 age-wise. I think they're probably the biggest purchasing power right now. A lot of them, everybody's having a lot, more children. They're moving into bigger places than they did in their 20s. They may have purchased their house in their 20s, or maybe not. Maybe they're even the first time. We're seeing a lot of millennials that are first-time home buyers. But that's pretty well how it's flowing right now with millennial. They're hitting that first-time home buyer area, 300 to 500 range. And that seems to be where the biggest market is right now.
Do you see a house hack that a lot of people are using to help offset their mortgage payment or to help buy a home without tapping too much into their monthly budget with rates where they are and so on and payments where they are?
Oh, absolutely. A lot of people are looking at ADUs. And ADU is where you can rent out like your basement, or you can rent out a part of your house to help supplement the income or help supplement the house payment.
Yeah.
You have to be careful with that because some areas don't allow ADUs and some do. You do have to be a resident of the home to be able to do that.
Well, so how do you find out what areas allow it and what areas don't?
You'd have to go to the city,
Oh.
and they'll have the restrictions on there. But it's legal, pretty prominent right now throughout the state.
Yeah, it seems to me that Utah is pretty generous or lenient on allowing ADUs. I think because they recognize that it does help people to be able to afford to live in a home.
Yeah, especially first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
Even some of the older folks like me that they don't really want to leave their house, but they have a full basement, that they're not doing anything with. There are some circumstances around that. It has to have a separate exit. Like if you do your basement, you have to have a lockable door to separate those two.
Yeah. Yeah, and not all loan programs allow income from an ADU immediately. Like some of them may call it border income, where you need 2 years of that before they'll allow counting it. But some do, like Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae allow ADU income in certain scenarios. So again, it's nothing that if that's what you're thinking of doing is using ADU income to help offset your payment, and you talk to your lender about your situation. What advice do you have for people who are looking at selling their home in this market?
There's so many different situations with that, but if you're just looking to sell your home outright and maybe looking to buy another home, a lot of people are trying to do it for sell by owner, but I would definitely at least get the advice of a realtor or a professional to find out if there's anything that you need to do to the home right away to make it more attractive to sell. A lot of people are really fixing stuff up, fixing their homes up and making them more cost-worthy or more value to the customer. And I would definitely get advice from a professional, find out what to do with it before you even attempt it. My advice is to get a realtor so that you at least know what the process is. Now, if you've been through it before, if you're confident about it, there's nothing to hold you back, but there can be a lot of issues with that and some litigations and stuff like that.
It seems like there are, like, especially with the NAR settlement, the NAR lawsuit settlement, it seems like it would be tricky to navigate representing yourself as a seller or as a buyer with having to deal with, like, legal repercussions and so on. What are your thoughts?
The only thing that I can really say, because this is still kind of a tricky situation now, it's nothing that's different than we haven't already done or that Utah hasn't participated in, because we have always negotiated in some form brokerage commissions. And so to understand all that, I would definitely recommend, if they were going to sell it on their own, to do some homework on that, because there's a lot of information out there right now on how to handle that, right and wrong ways to do it. And again, you could get into some legal issues if you don't know how to handle it right. And that's why the expertise of a realtor, which we're all being trained on this, we're becoming experts on this to where we know how to handle that.
Yeah. I wouldn't try to do an appendectomy on myself, or I wouldn't try to represent myself in court because I don't know the ins and outs.
Had to fly a plane, unless you're a pilot, it probably wouldn't be a good idea.
Yeah. And then for people who want to buy a home, where do they start? What's the best thing for someone who's thinking about buying a home to do?
Well, this is a little bit tricky because a lot of people they get that urge to go buy, and so they want to go out and start looking. Well, first thing that I would recommend, and any agent out there is going to tell you the same thing, is get pre-qualified with whatever lender you go to. A lot of agents have preferred lenders that they like to work with, and I have like 4 that I match people up with. There's a lot of institutions out there. We can't send everybody to all of them.
Right.
So, but talk to your realtor, find out, get that pre-qualification, actually get the pre-approval if you can, because that's a whole nother thing. The pre-qualification is kind of a general qualification. Pre-approval is more of a deep dive into your credit and, all that stuff. Really get that done before you even think about looking, because that'll give you the baseline of what you can look for. That'll allow you to decide how much you want to pay. I mean, just because you're approved for $550,000, you may not be comfortable with that. And if you're looking at $550,000 homes, and then you go get pre-approved, it's going to be a huge letdown. But kind of get that together. And also, sometimes your credit might not be where you want it to be. And you can get into a qualification period where the lender can actually help you get better qualified, get your FICO score and all that up, to where now maybe even get a lower interest rate. There's a lot of scenarios with that.
Yeah, I think people don't realize the impact that credit score has on the interest rate that you get. They'll call and they'll say, what is the rate today? There's not our rate today. It depends on a lot of different scenarios of the loan, a lot of different things like what type of home is it? Are you owner occupied? What is your credit score? How many, borrowers and things like that impact the payment of the home.
Yeah, I have so many clients that will say, hey, what's the interest rate at?
Yeah.
And I wish I could give you an answer to that, because there's so many variables, like you said, and get with your financial people. Let them lay out your pathway, find out what it is, get it out of your head, get it on paper so you can actually see it.
Yeah, because like you said, people will often be surprised at how much the payment is, or maybe their income, if they're self-employed, they may not realize how complicated that is to get it worked out so that we have a precise calculation of what their income is. Some people overestimate how much they make. So it's a good idea to have a budget, have an idea in mind of how much you want to pay for your monthly payment, what's comfortable, and then get pre-approved. Like you said, like a pre-qualification is basically you've told them what you make, but it hasn't been verified. So pre-approval helps you be a confident buyer, because then you know that like your lender can call the listing agent and say, yeah, I have vetted this person. I have all their documents and everything ready to go. And this pre-approval is solid.
The hardest thing, one of the hardest things about buying a house and not getting all these things done is there's going to be a surprise. And the hardest thing is 2 weeks into it, I have to tell my buyers that they're not going to get that beautiful house that they want because they don't qualify.
I can't imagine.
So get all those surprises out of the way.
Yes, for sure. Like it's just
Best you can.
Yeah, you need to get your ducks in a row and be prepared so that you can have a successful closing, because I feel so bad for people who have their loans denied because they didn't have all the ducks in a row. And so,
right. And everybody's got a little some surprise in there. And most of it can be worked through. If you can litigate those, if you can get those things out of the way, then your chance of success for buying a house is increased greatly.
Yep, that's true. Okay, well, thanks, Jim. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me. I've enjoyed it.
If you want to reach out to Jim, how can they contact you? How can they find you?
Ridgeline Realty, Jim Vaughan. My website is Jim Vaughan, VAUGHAN, 1.com. You can call me at 385-394-5890.
Perfect. And he'll take great care of you for listing or selling a home in the Weber, Davis, Salt Lake County, anywhere in Utah.
Yeah. I stay up northern Utah. I get up into Cache Valley a little bit also. So anywhere from Salt Lake to Cache Valley.
All right. Well, thanks.
All right.